Well, someone who is a great friend of this Outsiders show and has been since the very beginning is, of course, the revolutionary John Ruddick, the Fidel Castro of the North Shore libs, a long-time Liberal Party advisor, activist, and the author, a couple of years ago, of Make the Liberal Party Great Again, an excellent book that we promoted heavily here on this show. Never got our cut, though. Anyway, that's the way it goes. Well, it seems that John Ruddick has found an alternative way to make the Liberal Party great again by quitting it. John Ruddick has had enough of the libs and will be running against Zali Steggall in Warringah for the Liberal Democrats. John joins us now. John, how are you?
Good morning. Terrific. Thank you for that introduction, Rowan.
Well, always great to see you, John. Now, explain to us how quitting the libs has become something you needed to do.
Well, look, I know that there's a lot of political activists who tune in every Sunday morning to your show, and I know that a lot of them will say, look, and they will be in complete agreement that we are being badly governed at a state and federal level. It's at crisis point. So what are we going to do about it? Option one is to try and reform the Liberal Party. Option two is a fresh start. Now, I just want to go through option one for those people who are still, many people think that's the best way to good government is to reform the Liberal Party. Over the last 1.5 parliamentary terms, I'm going to read you out a list of some of the small government Conservatives that one way or another have exited the federal parliamentary party room. So we've got Kevin Andrews, Erica Betts, Corey Bernardi, Craig Kelly, Senator Ian McDonald, George Christensen, Tony Abbott, Bronwyn Bishop, Nicole Flint, and on top of that, we've got Jim Mullen, who's been told by the factions he's not allowed to recontest again. Amanda Stoker, the great Amanda Stoker, has been demoted on her ticket, and John Anderson recently got rejected by the Nationals for a former young Liberal president. So there is a trend going on, fellow Conservatives, and that trend is against us in the Liberal Party. Because all these good Conservatives I just mentioned, all these small government people, they are being replaced by lefties. Now, I'll tell you what the Liberal Party in 2021 has become, and I know it's very sad to hear this, but this is the truth. It's become the Australian Democrats. It's become a...
Whoa, damning.
I'm sorry, it's the truth. Let's think about, we had the magnificent duo of Costello and Howard a few years ago, for 12 years. John Howard in Bennelong has been replaced by the former tennis player. Okay, I'm sorry, he's been there for 12 years. He's made no impact. Peter Costello's seat, the seat of Higgins, is now, Katie Allen is now the member for that seat. Now, Katie Allen does come across as very articulate and very accomplished, but I'm sorry, I've seen her enough time on Sky News. She's pretty left-wing. Okay, so in these two great seats, it's going downhill. So I'm saying we don't have time to try and turn the ship around called the Liberal Party, because we've got COVID mania out of control, we've got debt out of control, and we've got global warming. We're having a very disproportionate response to that. So I'm thinking, look, the Liberal Democrats, a truly small government party, they've been good on all these issues from the beginning, so I'm going to put my political energy in with them.
Rita.
Okay, but in Warringah, do you not see the possibility that you're going to help Zali get re-elected? You're going to split that Conservative vote and really boost her position?
Look, I'm not worried about that, because the people who are going to vote Liberal Democrat in Warringah are highly intelligent people, and they're smart enough to work out how to vote card works and how to preference votes. And I am sure that they will put, if they vote for the Liberal Democratic Party, they will put the Liberal ahead of Zali.
James?
But you know that doesn't happen. You know that doesn't happen in elections. You don't have that 100% flow from one Conservative Party to another. That's just not how things work.
Well, there was silly old me was thinking Zali Steggall was as Conservative. Wasn't that what we were told, John, before the last election? Lapsed Liberal?
Yes. Her campaign manager, Peter Fitzsimons, said that she's basically a Liberal. Okay, although he let it out in that first interview, he said that she does like Michelle Obama. So some of us were suspicious from the beginning about her Liberal Party credentials.
Okay,
James.
but John, I want to ask you, though, why the LDP? You know, we haven't seen very many politicians associated with the LDP, except maybe for David Limbrick, I think, down in Victoria. And they're a party that, let's be frank, has been associated with, you know, in recent years, more infighting, libertarian purity tests, drug legalization, things like that, rather than, you know, I think good governance. So why not, you know, why did you go with the LDP and not, say, a One Nation, which has Mark Latham doing a great job in the upper house in the state level? You've got Pauline Hanson, of course. Why the choice for the LDP, which seems a bit of an outlier party?
No, good question. Look, libertarianism has to be a growth stock in 2021. A year ago, we had an election in New Zealand a year ago. They have a libertarian party called the ACT. They went from 0.5% to almost 8%. Okay, so all the headlines were that Jacinta had a landslide, which she did. But there are people out there. I reckon 1 in 3 Australians by now have worked out that COVID mania is being way overhyped. I think, you know, people are suffering from it. Okay. Well, the LDP is a purist party on the key issue facing us right now, which is the engineering of the COVID state.
But John, One Nation has also been very, very good on COVID, and the problem I worry with the LDP is that they take an even looser approach to other things that conservative voters care about, like cultural issues and things like that, because they don't want to get involved with those fights, and that's going to turn off a lot of conservative voters.
Well, look, I mean, I am sympathetic to One Nation, okay, but I mean, One Nation is not a small government party. I mean, so they're sort of all over the place on economics. They've been pretty good on the COVID situation. But I mean, this is exactly what the Liberal Democratic Party have always stood for, a much smaller state. That's not really One Nation's main agenda. Look, I know they're heading in that direction. Look, in terms of some of the obscure policies that you're referring to, look, the bottom line is, James, I don't care if they worship Satan, okay? What we've got right now is an emergency. And I'm thinking a purist message can pick up a lot of those 1 in 3 Australians that are fed up and can see that the country is in crisis unless we reverse this.
So tell us those key messages. And also, John, you failed to mention the moment of inspiration when you decided to join the Lib Dems.
Okay, well, that moment was, as I always do every Sunday morning, I religiously watch the Outsiders program. About 2 or 3 months ago, I came to the view that the Liberal Party is not going to reform itself, okay? And I'm sorry, it was the so-called conservative small government faction which had sort of disappointed me for too long, because there's meant to be close to half the party room are meant to be part of the small government faction in the party room. And I'm sorry, with very few exceptions, hardly any of them have spoken up. So I was thinking, what the hell are we going to do? I turned on the Outsiders about 6 weeks ago, and Rita introduced David Limbrick, the very good member for the upper house in Victoria, and she said, he's effectively the leader of the opposition in Victoria. And that's what I thought to myself, gee, well, that's a no-brainer. Yeah, I've always liked the Liberal Democratic Party. I've voted for them most of the time over the last 10 years, secretly. And I thought, yeah, and I looked into what their policies have been, and I thought, this is the right fit. Now, I know they're coming off a small base, but they've got the #1 right message for Australia. So I'm thinking, that's our best bet. Let's put the political energy into the LDP.
Rita, last question.
Well, who do you have earmarked to run for you? Obviously, you're going to need some big name candidates. Can you give us a couple of names to get people excited and interested?
Apart from John Ruddick.
I hate to disappoint you, Rita. I can't now. I can confirm this, that discussions are underway.
Let's break the story here, John.
Okay, well, look, there are people giving it serious consideration. Some big names. A lot of them have been on the Outsiders at least once or twice. Okay?
Oh, there's a big hint. Hey.
Look, I want to make it clear. We hope that there will be some high-profile people step forward, okay, run for the Senate positions. That's where we can really win. Now, if that doesn't happen, that doesn't change anything, okay, because we're going to be campaigning on ending COVID mania. That is going to be the LDP's federal election campaign thing. End COVID mania. And
how?
I think
Very quickly, how?
Well, look, David Limbrick has said, come the 1st of December, once everybody's had an opportunity to get vaxxed, if they want to get vaxxed, we go back to complete normality. No more QR codes, no restrictions in any way. So
Brilliant.
It's simple. We're going to wind the whole thing back.
We'll take that. Thanks a lot, John Ruddick. We got to go, but thanks so much.
Thanks,
I think
guys.
you've got a very powerful message there. A lot of people will be going, hear, hear. John Ruddick, Liberal Democrat. There you go, making the Liberal Democrats great this time. Thanks.
Good on you guys. Thank you very much.